So,
Alright.
here we are in the last great set piece of the game. You've been seeing this thing the whole game. It's been almost an unchanging portion of the skyline is this citadel. And now you actually see what it is.
Seriously though, Human Revolution is like you ever see Mr. Ed where they put peanut butter inside a horse's mouth to make him look like he talked?
Yeah.
That whole game was
They did
slippery
that
to me.
for the same models.
I just started playing Human Revolution, and I don't know why, but like walking around feels like I'm walking around on ice. I turn around too fast.
It kind of does.
I don't like it.
I want to say, okay, I played a hardcore version of this game where I did it not dying. If I died at all, start the game over.
Oh my.
I got right here. I got all the way here and got crushed by one of these things.
Oh
That's
no.
how far I made it. Oh. So I've never officially beaten this in Iron Man mode, but I came damn close.
And this is where the visuals really start to become reminiscent of Portal, which is actually the other way around. Portal was obviously designed with this place in mind.
Yeah. I do love the techno lighting. I want my house to have that techno lighting. The pure white squares
Very
of fluorescent
Portal-like.
light. Yeah.
Portal 2, though. I would say this is more like Portal 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like the end of Portal 1 and everything in Portal 2.
Yes.
I almost think they went too overboard with it in Portal 2.
Yeah, it felt like they even used some of these textures in the back room areas of Portal
Cave Johnson
1.
area.
Yeah.
Oh dear. What is the point of having that?
I'm sure that's
well, that looks
nothing to worry
fantastic.
about.
Let's go sit in one. You can actually sit in... Should I show the death thing here? You can actually go sit in it and get killed.
It's hilarious, yeah. Game over. Gordon Freeman's a dumbass.
We really need to do the Stanley Parable.
Why is that guy flashing you? Oh, you opened it. It looked like
yeah.
that machine turned around and flashed.
It's time to meet the maker!
Gabe.
Go to Gabe Newell and demand that he release episode 3 already.
Okay, so episode 3 is not going to happen.
You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth and you never open it again. That's not true.
Look, I think it's pretty clear that Half-Life 2 is like a pastiche of every first-person shooter trope that they could muster, from defensive games to giant set pieces to urban combat to open giant areas, and later with the expansions, vehicle combat and other things.
Well, they had vehicle combat in this game. They had the longest vehicle combat section.
Yeah, so they just need to make more pastiches and put them in the game.
But that's my point, is that the story in this game is secondary to being able to have fun with the first-person shooter tropes. And
I think that was always kind of the idea. The idea, I think, was always, let's make an interesting first-person shooter and put it in a cool set piece where there's some weird lore going on, you don't really understand it, but it's kind of cool, and you feel like the world has some kind of internal logic, and everybody seems to keep talking about the internal logic, even if you have no idea what they're talking about.
Exactly. That is exactly what I think Half-Life is.
Yeah, I'd like to see them
set
integrate
piece.
some Left 4 Dead mechanics. Like, just waves and waves of enemies that just sprint at you. You know,
I think
that
they
might
should
be a
implement
neat
an
thing to
awesome
throw
button.
in here.
I need a button and awesome need to
Awesome.
be connected in Half-Life 3.
And it's initially not bound, and it's the only button that does anything in the game.
And here we get more of an idea of what the Combine does to people that they alter. You see those guys walking around down there. They get called the Wraiths, I think, in episode 1. But in this game, they're not really important. They're just set-piece stuff. Stalkers, that's right.
So here's a scary thought. One of the primary new frontiers of first-person shooter design after Half-Life 2 is the realm of the leveling up multiplayer world.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, what else has really happened? I guess you moved on to hyper-lethal play, but Half-Life already had pretty lethal play against at least the Combine. They'd go down in like 2 bullets.
Yeah, cover systems, slower gameplay.
Quick scoping.
This is obviously not a multiplayer game. I don't think Valve will ever make it into a multiplayer game.
But I guess that's...
What are these guys doing? They're all like creeping around.
Yeah, but if they're fishing for new mechanics, like Chris is saying, where else are they going to go to find new mechanics?
Did BioShock come out after Half-Life 2?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
BioShock was
Well, that
2007,
might be-
Half-Life 2 was
that-
2004.
I think BioShock might be a good example of what people are trying to do with single-player shooters, which is add in a little bit of, like, magic. Like, straight-up magic. Let's be real.
Well, the gravity gun almost gets that in this level.
Almost. But it's not really, like, hordes of bees or throw rage at people. Like,
You just want a mechanic where you get bees in every first-person
I'm just
shooter
asking
play,
for
don't
it nicely.
Instead
I
of
don't-
ant lions, they could be bee lions.
Oh my
Well,
god.
I mean, it's a fair point that
you? That's
the
the
original-
technology that they're delaying Half-Life 3 for is the hair physics. They want to make the bees look very fuzzy.
Well, I was just thinking that, I mean, one of the things that BioShock does really well that Half-Life really doesn't is this idea of
I can't move.
an ecosystem where you could use different techniques against different enemies and they all
Yes.
sort of interrelate.
Guys. Uh-oh. They're eating them! No, my guns! Give them back! That's my rocket launcher and my shotgun!
I thought this was a terrible contrivance that the confiscation field supercharges your gun in a way that nobody knows how to replicate.
That
Terrible
said,
contrivance.
this is the coolest part of the game as far as fighting. You are basically Superman. Oh yeah, I can pull off whatever the fuck I want. Throw it anywhere.
But see, I always assumed that the inability to pick people up was... Oh, I love this speech. I always assumed it was a safety feature built into the gravity gun. I didn't think it was a limitation of the gravity gun. And then...
Yeah.
And it's
You're
like
on
your
now.
suit gets...
And
Go ahead.
and anything that the gravity gun picks up, it supercharges with this electric stuff that kills biological matter.
That kept
And your
that
suit
And you
is
can
console-
mysteriously
it.
supercharged. And maybe
Yeah.
maybe that's just the chargers here are better. I don't know. What's that supposed to mean? I'm not sure what these mechanics are even telling us about the Citadel. I was willing to roll with it at the time, but it does feel kind of weird. Love the Dr. Breen speeches.
So
Yeah,
I've
and
been-
it kind of hammers home how Dr. Breen doesn't really believe what he's telling the people, on the broadcast, but he does believe that he's still doing the best thing for humanity.
What have you done, Josh, that is so positive? Can you name even one thing?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well,
it's
never
actually
mind
the
then.
opening line of episode 1, which I thought was great.
Well, now
Oh,
I
yeah,
feel
the
like
death
an ass. Anyway, we're on to game. I've been watching this for 4 episodes, which is a week of spoiler warning, and we're on to game 5 at this point of the different mechanics that Half-Life tries to toy with. And again, I don't mean that as a knock per se. I mean it's a pastiche of different game mechanics, and with all the good and bad that entails. It does all of them really well. They're all really fun. They're all really engaging. But it also means the game really lacks sort of a heart, mechanically speaking.
I don't know if
I think
mechanical unity is necessarily something that everyone has to strive for. I mean, it can certainly make a game feel tight, and that was a complaint about this game, is that, it's a good shooter, but suddenly you're in a vehicle section that's, you may not like so much.
Right.
It is true with so many things there's there's going to be something you love, but there's also going to be that one section that you just can't bear, and it's different for everybody. But it means you can't just like games that are out right now. You can say, okay, I will like all of this game, or I will not like this game. And this one is that it's a buffet where you have to try everything as you go down the line.
That said, I think it's a really, really, really good gourmet buffet where it does all these things that it does pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point in the game where, except maybe you could argue the vehicle sequences don't fit very well, but all the other shooter mechanics and all the other shooter game styles seem to be implemented fairly consistently. It never feels like suddenly, oh, now I'm playing a completely different game.
You could even argue that they do a lot of the gunplay that they do here is better than the games that they were copying at the time. I mean, comparing the shooting mechanics here to the shooting mechanic games of its contemporaries.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the game feels really good in your hands. It feels good to play. I mean, that's always been the case.
Would you say it's kinesthetically pleasing?
I would if I wanted to get smacked by people on the internet, but yes, it
I
really
happen
is
to love,
enjoyable to play.
I happen to love that term, and the only reason I don't use it more is I don't want people saying, oh, you're just copying Chris.
Nobody can use that term but Campster.
It's
also a lot better looking than a lot of games that came out during that time. It's not all grays. It's not all browns. There's a lot of variety of color.
And a lot of it is not technical strengths, although the engine was pretty damn good, but it's the art direction.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's why it still looks good today. It really is a gorgeous, beautifully made game that feels good in your hands. I just question whether, I mean, the Pastiche thing is really a matter of taste. Do you think a game should be about a series of core mechanics that it focuses on, or a series of really radically different mechanics that all function really well? And the answer is I don't know.
I think gamers are used to using one tactic in a game and getting comfortable with it and getting the best at it. So being asked to use a bunch of different tactics in a game is a little harder for people to grasp, and I think maybe that's part of the problem. But if they're all so polished, it's hard to get mad at it.
Right, but if
I think the other problem with that in general... Oh, hey, that actually killed that guy. I think the other problem with that in general is when games do try to to make you have to switch up mechanically, they don't do it in a way that makes you feel like they're doing anything but trying to cheat and make you switch your mechanics up.
Oh, you fell out of the helicopter and dropped all your weapons. Now use this one.
Yeah.
Oh, as opposed to just starving you of ammo for the gun they don't want you to use, which is completely seamless. You'll never notice it. You'll never feel like the game's being unfair. You can even come up with story reasons, but no, instead they have to do this ham-fisted, we will steal things from you with contrivances.
But to be fair, a lot of the Half-Life game is a magic trick. It's mostly, you don't know you're on the rail, you don't know that we want you to use this thing, you don't know that we're taking ammo away from you.
Yeah.
Like, it's a magic trick.
Yeah. It's a very good magic trick, though.
Yes.
You don't
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
It's a great thing. More video games should have magic tricks in them, let me tell you.
Yeah. More video games should be done by magicians.
I mean, that's really
what
you're asking.
Like we need more desert bus? Desert bus source?
What just happened?
You have destroyed so much. What is it exactly that you have created? Can you name even one thing? I thought not.
I have created a bunch of dead Combine. I'm very proud of this.
See that pile behind? I'm making a fort.
In fact, earlier I had this big like beam thing, and I put Combine into it, and it was like a big fish bowl. I thought it was pretty artistic. I was darn proud of myself. Oh, here's another one.
I made a really cool Let's Play and I put it on the internet.
Laid the foundation for humanity's survival. And not as we have narrowly defined ourselves, but as something greater than we could ever imagine.
It's so meta.
Something we can now only begin to
Oh wow!
glimpse.
I made a basket.
I love
maybe
Green in
try.
this last little bit here.
Yeah. You can hear him getting kind of frantic and frustrated, like, why isn't this asshole dead? And he's trying to convince you, and maybe he's trying to convince himself, you can't tell.
It's a great antagonist. I just Valve's a
Yeah.
pet too.
Give me something I can actually hold. Thank you.
But yeah, I
Fuck
mean,
you.
I think part of the reason that there's no Half-Life 3 is because the story really
there we
is
go.
secondary to exploring first-person shooter, goofy, fun mechanics, and they ran out of those between Half-Life 2 and 2 episodes for it, and they really just... No one has the energy to make another Half-Life because people want to see the story conclude. Because the story was never the point.
Yeah.
Are you
Right.
saying they're never gonna make another Half-Life?
It's probably
they
why
might,
it's
'cause
they've
they
been,
like money.
they've-
I broke the hologram.
Right. I'll bet you they've been prototyping and prototyping. That's what I imagine. And they haven't found... Like, their first design for Portal was just the old Aperture Science stuff. And
Yeah.
Gabe actually had a meeting and he said, we're making Portal without portals. Like, realizing we can't leave that out of this game. But it was just part of their prototyping thing, looking for the next thing that will really satisfy.
So after all this work getting up here,
After the last time worked out so awesome.
we get into a fucking chair.
Okay, this is probably the worst part of the game insofar as mechanically they establish about a level and a half ago that this is suicide, and then they make you do it anyway. And I spent
Or that
probably
it
a half
makes
an
you
hour
awesome.
thanning to look for an alternate path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
And the
I
reason
did
why.
love the ride.
Oh, hi.
I loved it. Oh, originally in 2004, these things were designed and there was like a bar right across your field of vision. It was real narrow.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out what it was for. I think it was to break line of sight with the horizon when we get to the windows. Because it didn't, what I'm guessing is it didn't look right. The horizon didn't look good where the ground met the sky. And so by putting that bar there, they covered it up. Oops. I don't think they're going to let you in, Josh. I think you are going to have to
Hey,
go
we got
and
an
see airport
expressway.
security.
Well, that's okay. I'll just tell
What
him I'm
is
Gordon
up?
Freeman.
We don't have a week left of this, by the way.
Oh, definitely not. We might as
All
well
these
just finish
cool fucking wires and
it.
textures.
Look at this!
and-
What is that thing? We never find out! And now we get to see just how freaking massive the Citadel actually is.
Yeah. This is
Very
where I
cool.
was just amazed. And you could see,
Yeah.
oh, so that's how they get out of here. And you're like, oh, look at how high. Although it is weird to see that many lights on down there. It's like, I thought these people were like living in the dark and there was no power and everything was horrible.
Don't
And then they've
complain, it
got,
looks
like,
super
this-
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
It slows down and
Yeah,
wide.
like you see there's fog now to ease the horizon into the
Yeah.
sky. I don't think they had fog, and I think they've fixed this in subsequent patches, which is worth it because, oh my goodness, so much awesome!
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't really look good from today's standards, but back then it was
I
pretty
still
cool.
dig that. I have no complaints about what I'm seeing there.
Yeah.
In fact, I just wrote 1,000 words berating BioWare for the decrepit artistic condition
what?
of
No,
the
give me
Old
that.
Republic. And that's as modern as it gets.
I'll take him from here.
I don't
Oh,
know.
there's
About...
Gordon Froman. He's
Don't
taking our
struggle,
gun
it's no
away.
use. Until you're where he wants you, there's nothing you can do. I'm sorry.
Oh, there's the frame.
Gordon.
Yeah. What do you think Breen's commute is to work. He has to get in one of those things.
He has to
ride
get
it up.
Comes on, his suit's all wrinkled.
Do you know what this does to my dry cleaning bill? Do you even care?